welcome back. I'm Emily Johnson, Certified Financial Planner and Managing Director at Polaris Capital Advisors, and I am joined by Todd Harlow of Work Plan Retire, Retirement Planning Specialist extraordinaire, and we have been discussing income in retirement and trying to provide you with a process, an idea, a plan, a way, a discipline to accomplish that. That is, of course, what we specialize in, and we're trying to help you get from point A to point B. Again, you know, our worlds sort of collide in the sense that I work with individual clients, individual investors who are oftentimes participants in large corporate retirement plans, which is what Todd specializes in, and we just feel like as an industry, perhaps we're not really focusing on the end goal, which should be getting you income in retirement, that paycheck in retirement. So often we talk about and we hear people talking about what's fancy, what's sexy, what's white noise, what's the coolest stock. You can get so caught up in whether or not if we have an ISIS bombing that your financial future is completely kaput. I mean, all of that stuff creates so much fear when really it's just white noise. Yes, it's important. Yes, it's your life. Yes, it's what you hear on the news on a daily basis. But if our goal is to get you a paycheck in retirement, income in retirement, then we need to refocus. And that's what we've been trying to do throughout this series, if you will. And if you've missed any of the series, we've had four segments discussing how to have the discipline to arrive at that income in retirement. Please check out our websites, check us out on YouTube. We have these segments and we will dig more into them in the future. But just as a quick recap from this series, so the first thing that we talked about is the fact that we as financial advisors do not have a crystal ball. We might have pixie dust, but sometimes it doesn't always work. But we don't have a crystal ball. So we have to say, when a client says to us, am I going to be okay if I retire in this year? We have to say, yes, but. We don't know what that year is going to look like. That could be a bad year. Nobody knew Trump was going to get elected and the market was going to fly.
Just like the storm.
Just like the storm. And the spaghetti maps that you're looking at, if you live in the Southeast and you watch the spaghetti maps, we don't know whether it's going to shift left or right. We don't. But what we will promise you is that we will do our best to make sure that there is a discipline in place that you can weather the storm. And there's another, I guess, analogy or pun. But that was step one, was just knowing that we don't know, knowing that there's a lot, that timing matters, but that we don't have a crystal ball, and having the humility to say, we don't, but. And that leads us to step two.
Yeah, and we're the humility to admit that you don't know doesn't mean you can't achieve outstanding results. It probably means you can, actually.
Right.
To indulge that you do, and talk about and pontificate about future, literally predicting tomorrow's newspaper, is largely hogwash. It just
exactly.
is what it
the
is.
best money managers that pound the table every day on CNBC, sometimes they have to have the humility to come back and say, oh, that bet did not work out as well as I thought it was going to. But chances are they didn't have all their eggs in one basket, because they follow a discipline as well. And that's what, so obviously knowing the unknown, and the next part is our spending strategy.
Yeah, so it's again back to advisor discipline and leadership. It is discussing spending and its importance and longevity to your clients, and giving them the option of what is really more prudent, which we refer to the jargon world called endowment spending, which simply says we need to factor in everything: inflation, market conditions, and your lifestyle. It's what the biggest pools of money in our country do: Harvard Endowment, Yale, Rockefeller, and it's just proven to yield longer term income, which everyone wants.
Right.
And so that leads us to the next, which
is basically having the cash buffer to be able to...
Process matters.
Process matters, yes. Said much better. Having the process in place to be able to see you through the storm and to keep that spending using the endowment strategy. So process matters. Having the cash buckets, having the cash flow reserve bucket, having the growth orientation, all of those things that we talked about in the third model, that having that process will see you through those storms.
Right.
And meeting with your advisor on an annual basis to make sure that that is actually there. Also knowing that it needs to be flexible, that this is not set in stone, that what we're trying to create is something that's going to be pliable, that will adjust to your life and to adjust to the market.
Right. And let's collectively, is it 50 years of experience? I'm on the something.
We're close. Yeah.
And if we've made what shapes our opinion, we've made a lot of mistakes. It just is. And again, that's back to the humility of learning from it. And I know I can't predict tomorrow's newspaper.
My first several phone calls were back in 2008, 2009. That was actually, yep.
So there's a lot of experience, and I like to say bear claw scars on my back that help shape this perspective. And I think one of the big takeaways I want to talk about process over product is, I'm getting lost here, the longevity for sure, but I've lost my train of thought here.
We're talking about the growth and having the growth in
it's
your...
the controllable nature.
Right.
We're talking about mastering the uncontrollable, which is tomorrow's newspaper. Having a spending policy, meeting with your advisor to go over the endowment, and having them do the easy button and calculate it for you, controllable. Having the bubble wrap around the buckets of money, controllable.
Right.
Kind of, I mean, there's so many parallels and analogies. Eating habits and things, and some of those I know are addictions and get crazy. But really, those are disciplines we can control, and that's what I think gets us so excited why we originally came together. We
Right.
think so much alike. And it's the obsession over getting away from what we can't control and being disciplinarians to our client on what we can.
And empowering our clients, because
Yeah.
so often, and it's the most rewarding feeling when you have clients come into your office that they have that deer in the headlights look of, I don't understand, I've been told I'm stupid,
the intimidation factor is real.
And the financial industry forces that. Our statements read like hieroglyphics. You get sent multiple forms of statements, and it's designed that way. And we didn't design it that way, but we happen to be players in the game. So, but the reality is, clients will come in with that deer in headlights look, fearful, unknowing, and when they get that aha moment of, wait a second, there are variables in here that I can control, not just how much I spend on my dinner, but there are variables here that I can control, that I can review without fear, and that I can ask questions without fear. That fear goes away, and it's this great aha moment, and that's why I'm in this business, and I think that's why you're in this business, because when you see the clients get that aha moment, know that there are controllable variables, that they will be able to have take action. Yeah, take action to be able to create income in retirement, and it's empowering to them, which is empowering to us.
I'm with you, and that's why I think what our why is, why we've kind of chosen that path. It is controllable, it's repeatable, and to get positive results and knowing you kind of had a part in it, and knowing you can repeat it. That's exciting.
Exactly.
Versus pulling something out of a hat and they think you're the genius. The
Right.
old confusing. That's a saying called "confusing brains with a bull market," which arguably we're in right now.
Right.
And you intellectually know you don't have tomorrow's newspaper, but this is the world's greatest investment in an analyst, my advisor, but rather, who cares more? That's a tough introduction.
Right.
Can you repeat it? Versus, you need to work with Emily. No one's going to care more about your situation, and no one's going to be more in tune with the results you need. That's the introduction
And hopefully
you want.
communicate it in a way that, say, she communicates in a way that I get it. She communicates in a way that...
And that was the goal of this thing.
Hopefully,
You're right.
So hopefully that's what we achieved in this process, in these set of modules.
And the last one is dividends matter, and that when you take a look, we're not going to get into this big interest rate discussion and fixed income and jargon. Take a look at what your mortgage rate has done over the last 10 years, or for some of you who've owned homes for 30 years, it's way down. And for the foreseeable future is likely to stay down. And like you said, it's great as the borrower got that. When you're looking to get interest on your investments, it's a killer. And in order to get longevity of income and hopefully have that income grow, you might need to look at dividends. And further, given where the market conditions are, we're kind of at all-time highs. If you subscribe to the do theory at all, and we're not in the prediction game business, but if things do pull back, historically, dividend-producing stocks perform better because of the capital disciplines of the company. So don't want to get into the prediction game, but it does have positive results.
It's a future
long
show.
term. Yeah.
We'll predict in the future.
So
fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that this has been educational and informative, and most importantly, actionable. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen, please contact either of us. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on our websites. We'll make sure that these segments are posted, and we certainly love to hear from you. We'd love to answer questions in the future. So until next time, this has been Emily Johnson. I'm joined by Todd Harlow. We look forward to speaking with you again soon.